My choice is much older than that, and well, it goes back to that era of 16-bit style games, movie games, and like we discussed, there were limitations of this period. So I think this game has a lot of merit because it didn't have the memory or capacity that the previous game that we were discussing had. The game in question I'm talking about is the Terminator on the Sega Mega CD, or Sega CD for you in America. Okay, now again, this game came out in '93 here in the United Kingdom, and goodness me, it was expensive because of the nature of what it was being played on. Because you had to have the Mega Drive, then the Mega CD as well, which cost a fortune when it came out, and only the super rich would be able to have this game. And I only found out about this game many years later when I revisited it. And I thought, wow, this is actually a really good game. And you're talking to someone who had the Terminator on the Sega Mega Drive, not the Sega Mega CD. And even though they had the same developers, there were two different games completely developed by two different teams, but same company. Now, this had the FMV scenes from the movie in there. Obviously, the resolution looks poor. Here you go. There's the disc. It was in dual cases for us in the UK, Europe region for Sega Mega CD, not the clamshell cases you guys had in America, which were actually better for Mega CD. Anyway, again, follows the movie in terms of you got the cut scenes and everything that's going on, generally speaking. But in short, it's a run and gun shooting action platform game. That's what it is. Again, same kind of intro. It's actually got the score by Brad Fiedel from the movie. So it's got the exact same Terminator theme in stereo. So amazing. And it's an amazing game. It's definitely one that I'd recommend you all give a go now that emulation is now an option and you can actually play it that way. And that's the way I play it because it costs a fortune. I saw a copy of this game for £150 on Facebook Marketplace. It's ridiculous. But anyway, it's there. And here's the game. There's Carl Reese. And it starts off in the future. And, there's the Terminator. Again, one thing that you can't hear is the soundtrack of this game. It was developed by Tommy Tallarico, who is famously known for his soundtracks for the era. And he helped with the Mega Drive Aladdin soundtrack. So there's the limit. There's the connection, and obviously Virgin Games were the ones who developed this as well. So yeah, basically you start off, back in time. There's 3 levels before you get to the time machine. So we're still in the future, and there's a few levels before you can fight the boss and go back in time to 1984. But yeah, there's a lot of creative choices when this game was made. They just basically developed Terminators, or they developed what these machines would be in the future. Obviously, they're using artistic license there. I think that's the term I'm looking for in terms of what it could have been like. Because we didn't see much of the future, sadly, with the first Terminators. It seemed you saw a few clips as to what the future was like. But
yes, I can see TX-1000 as Arnold there. Is that really Arnold the Terminator or Arnold the Commando?
I think they're the proto, the sort of basic run off the mill T800s that they put out. You have the ones with the endoskeletons, which are just exposed, which is the T700s, I believe, in Terminator lore. So I believe that's what they are, and that's obviously the more finished product. Obviously, they're easier to destroy in the future because you've got weapons that can destroy them. When you go back in the past, you got 20th century weapons, and you do meet obviously the Terminator there, and that's another story. But you go back in, and obviously it changes the game. It becomes a lot more difficult when you go to the past. And the difficulty curve is reflected level by level. Again, you have continue points in the game. You have different difficulty settings. So if you want to play it on easy and try to get through it, you can. But even that has its challenges as well. But it's definitely a much more complete Terminator game because the Mega Drive one or the Genesis one only had 4 stages. This is more like 10. I think there's 11 stages on this particular game. So it's a much more bigger experience. And it showcased that because of the Sega CD's memory, you can actually make a game fuller and longer with a lot more details and a lot more content, a lot more animation, better, superior sound if you wanted to. There's a lot you could do with it. And that's one of the things I liked about this game. So for the era, it is actually probably the best Terminator game that there was, because obviously it was not just the first game. There's obviously the second movie I told you the game was shit. But this is obviously 1984 Los Angeles. Carl Reese Terminated. So yeah, and there's a lot you can do with this game fundamentally. I know I haven't really sort of explained it as well as I can, but I think the video that you're seeing pretty much showcases what it is. Sadly, this game is only available on Mega CD. It's never had a port on any other platform. The only way to play it is on the Mega CD. And I know why, because of the license. It's locked to it. Nobody wants to pay for it and resurrect this particular game. It was great for that particular platform. This is the scene where you go in LA and you're, just before you get to, rescue Sarah Connor in the police station. But this is basically it. A great soundtrack, which you obviously can't hear because your license. Well, obviously, we'll get shut down if we listen to the music. But it's just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun getting through the levels and going through it. And it's not a game that's too taxing, because I find that with these sort of games, you just want to sort of enjoy it and have fun. And I think this is fundamentally a fun game based on a great movie, and that's basically what you want. So yeah. Terminator Zero was awesome, JDM says. I've not played that game, sadly. I'm sure even after this, there are probably better Terminator games that happened in, for other systems. I know there was a Terminator Rise of the Machines game on PlayStation 2. I remember that. I didn't play it though, and I didn't hear the best things about it. I think at that point it was being compared with other games that were great and that offered that sort of thing. But this game, comparatively for the time, as a game and as a franchise game, was great. And that's why I like this game, and it still holds a special place in my heart, because it's still a good game, and it makes you feel immersed, like you are Carl Reese, like you really do need to get through this to save the humanity, But yeah, that's basically, you want to feel immersed or invested in it. I don't think the later Terminator games have really given that in terms of experience. Yes, they're graphically better, they offer this and that, but the details are in the gameplay, and in this particular game, there is a joy and a sense of, I need to get through this. But anyway, what do you guys think?
I feel like if you take out all of the full motion capture videos, this game could have fitted in the on the Mega Drive or the Genesis cart.
I think you could have, but this is another thing you have to understand, which is this would have been a 32 meg cart to fit all that in there, and there were a very small selection of 32 meg games. Like I think Super Street Fighter 2 New Challengers was one of them. I think there were another two, but that would have been more expensive to manufacture than having it on a disc. It's all to do with manufacturing costs. But the crazy thing is, this thing would have done better on the Mega Drive, because more people have a Mega Drive than a Sega CD. And in all fairness, it might have cost them more to make, but they would have sold more copies, and I think the game would have been more successful, and more people would have enjoyed it. And I think it was an anti-consumerist decision, and Sega should have probably put it on the Mega Drive, but you would have lost the soundtrack on this, and the soundtrack is worth listening to because it is a really good soundtrack. So, goodness me, it's just one of those things.
So what? They thought that, this game is so good, people will be buying the Sega CD.
Well, yes, I mean,
was that the aim for them?
Well, they were pushing for Sega CD, and Sega were looking for developers, and they probably offered them an olive branch to sort of like put it on the Mega CD. But then I think come 1994, they realized that the Sega CD isn't shifting enough units. I think there's only like 2 or 3 million Sega CDs were sold worldwide, so it wasn't a popular format. And for example, Phantasy Star 4, one of the best RPGs on the Mega Drive, was actually designed with Sega CD in mind. Sega pulled the plug on it and said, no, we're not going to put it on Sega CD. We'll just put it on the Mega Drive we'll just give you more memory on a ROM cart, and you can sell it. But that was £100. Phantasy Star 4 was £100 on the Mega Drive, where it would have been less than half that if it was printed on the Sega CD. But you're expecting someone to pay £200 for an add-on to pay them £40 for a game, when it might be better if you just pay £100 for that game. So it's funny. It's like a bit of a false economy there, isn't there? Like nobody's got, like back then, like £200 for a Sega CD or Mega CD2 was still a lot of money. It was a lot of money. £200 that's £400 in today's money. That's do you understand? Like it was a premium add-on. It was for the high end. It was ridiculous. No one can afford that. No one could afford that. It's ridiculous. And it's a shame that the game's locked to that. But thank goodness for emulation. It allows us to play this game in a more affordable manner now. Because if you want to buy this game, like I said, I saw it for £150 on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe if you're lucky, you get it for $100. But it's still a lot of money to play on a game, and you'd have to buy the Mega CD if you haven't got one for your existing Genesis or Mega Drive. It's just, unless you're a passionate or a fan, it's not, in my opinion, it's not worth it. And why not choose emulation? But that's for next week's episode. That's for next week's episode. But this is definitely a game worth checking out if you love Terminator and you want to play a good Terminator game from the 16-bit era. This is the one to play. That's basically it. This is the only one worth playing, and maybe the arcade version with the light gun. But this is the one that if you want a platform run and gun adventure with a banging soundtrack. I can't emphasize just how good the soundtrack for this game is. And for those of you who listen to me, I love my sound in video game music. So there you go. All right.